Hells yeah, dude. Is that an amazing weapon or is that an amazing weapon? Look at that. You just grab yourself a nice, chunky block of Zonai iron, you attach it to a weapon, and boom, instant, chunky, blocky goodness. I just thought that was funny. I've been posting a whole bunch of Tears of the Kingdom clips over on Twitter. Naturally, there's going to be more Tears of the Kingdom coverage here on the channel. I just wanted to show this to you guys. But if you guys are interested in Tears of the Kingdom, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon so that you're notified whenever I put up a new video. But today, we're here for something else. Today, we're going to be talking about Diablo IV. Now, naturally, for those of you who've been following the channel for a while, you are aware of the fact that Diablo IV is probably going to be the next game that I'm going to be covering here after The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Probably going to be live streaming that a whole bunch. As a matter of fact, we live streamed the Server Slam event last Sunday. You can still find that stream here on the channel if you are interested. We played the Druid, which, as I kind of predicted, the Druid got buffed significantly. It definitely felt way more powerful than when I played the Druid on the last beta, which felt completely horrible. I had to basically equip my Druid chuck full of every single legendary that I could find, and even then still optimize a whole bunch of stuff beyond the legendaries just to be able to get the Druid to kind of work. Whereas this time I was able to just I think I had like one Lego, maybe, and the Druid felt like it was doing fine in most dungeons, just going through stuff and destroying everything. Even though I understand most likely other classes are much more better adjusted to doing content, but also that kind of depends on classes, because Necromancers kind of got the short end of the stick, which just kind of goes to reinforce one of the things that I brought up when it came to respec costs, which is Blizzard is not particularly good at doing balancing of classes. My experience with Blizzard games has told me this a zillion times over. Their balancing is pretty atrocious and pretty bad, and therefore, having free respecs is just something that would have been very useful. A lot of people are currently saying like, oh, it's not as big of a deal, it's going to be fine, and Blizzard saying, oh, it's set in stone, we're not going to change it. As like, okay, well, after I invest all of my points into a skill and then you nerf it into the ground, then I want to see what you're going to say. You're going to be like, oh, well, it was too powerful, so we nerfed it, now it's worthless. Because that's kind of like what they did with necroskeletons, apparently. People were telling me they had to hotfix necroskeletons during the server slam because they were not surviving anything. They were just dropping dead like flies. And I was like, well, in the last beta, they did feel a little bit too tanky. Like, they would not go down for almost anything. You'd need a Giga Boss to come in and take care of literally anything in terms of necro minions. Everything else, the minions would just survive pretty much no problem, right? So that was to be expected. But an interesting thing was revealed here in this Kripparrian video, and that is that Blizzard is apparently not being particularly forthcoming when it comes to the patch notes of Server Slam. Now, this is one of those situations where it's like, I don't really care. This is a beta. You don't have to be accurate with your patch notes. The problem is this a potential indication for how Blizzard is going to be handling their patch notes when it comes to the final version of the game, in which they'll tell you one or two things, and then the rest of it is well, we just kind of changed a couple of things here and there. You guys don't need to know about it. Here's what Kripparrian was talking about in his video.
Which is pretty good. All right. So far, it is, it is in line with what we saw there. More Fury double swing. All right. Oh, what? Wait, hold on. What are these? Upheaval, lucky hit chance increase. Okay. Direct damage with an enemy using not upheaval causes the next one to deal instead of 8, stacking 10 times. So it does 130 instead of 180.
So this was actually a build that I was using in my Barbarian, because basically you'd have Upheaval, which is a spender, so you'd be generating a whole bunch of rage and doing all this stuff, and then you would unload rage or fury, whatever it is that they call for the barbarians. You'd be generating a whole bunch of it, and then you would unload upheavals onto enemies. Now, the interesting thing about this is that with the previous thing, it would stack up to 10 times. You'd get up to 80% additional damage on that upheaval, which was pretty good. Now, I also had a legendary modifier that would change your stomping ability. And what it did was Stomp would create this shockwave that would deal a bunch of damage. And that would get these things to stack like that. You'd get the stacks instantly. Boom. Massive upheavals. Great fun. Now, even though that was pretty powerful, it wasn't even the most powerful Barbarian build, and it didn't even come anywhere close to anything that some of the other classes were outputting, with the exception, naturally, of Druid. And I do mean that. People didn't even come close. And they still nerfed it into the dirt. Like, you're talking going from 80% additional damage to 30% additional damage, and this wasn't even in the patch notes.
Massive upheaval nerf. And not only this for upheaval, but there were massive nerfs to legendary powers, primarily the powerful ones for Barbarian. The one that allowed upheaval to stack to a ridiculous amount, yeah, that one is just barely better if you're playing an upheaval build rather than some of the other ones. Like I said, this list is not complete.
Wow, so basically they also nerfed probably the Lego that I was talking about, which was the Stomp Lego. That would allow you to stack upheaval stacks super fast.
Iron Skin absorbs more maximum life. Well, that sounds pretty good. Wow, Iron Skin buffs. Okay. Challenging Shout, duration nerfed. Challenging Shout, Thorns nerfed. Rallying
Thorns
Cry,
build.
effect nerfed.
That was another build that was really good. Which was actually, that was the build that everybody was doing, the Thorns build. They nerfed it into oblivion, basically, which I'm not particularly surprised. The Rallying Cry was also something that I think I remember. I think I remember people using Rallying Cry in that.
Effect nerf. Resource from Rallying Cry,
Jesus
nerfed.
Christ.
War Cry, duration nerfed. Nearby allies duration nerfed. The bonus of War Cry nerfed. The War Cry life as fortify nerfed.
None of this is in the patch notes, by the way. This is all data mine stuff.
Kick nerfed. Leap, sure.
Oh my god, Kick got nerfed so hard.
Iron Maelstrom, I don't know. You know, sure, whatever. Wrath of Berserker, a little bit different. Okay, you remember how they made the patch about it being tankier 10%? Reduction to elites, nerfed. Thorns.
Oh my
god. Booming voice, the duration of war cries, because it's a double nerf. Take less damage during the shout skills. Super nerf. Like this thing. Your shout skills called enemies to deal. It used to be 24 at level 3, now 12.
Oh
this change alone completely reverses a flat 10% passive damage. Okay, you get the idea. All right, that's just Barb. And if we're being real, Barb had it easy. Every single class has been nerfed. Every single class. No one escaped the nerfs. And
now, I want to make one thing clear. When it comes to the nerfs, I'm actually in favor of them heavily nerfing everything, because I really liked the experience that I had when it came to playing the Barbarian on the very first beta, where things actually felt really challenging. And I was like, oh, this is cool. This is like the intended experience. But then you jump on something else like a sorceress or a rogue, and you just shred everything like it had nothing to do with Barbarian. And I know that some people are going to bring up, oh, Barbarians are pretty strong in the first beta, Bro, not even remotely close. Like, could you build them with Legos and all of this stuff? Yeah, sure. When the Lego drop rate was like 300% more, sure, you could build them up to be pretty powerful, but you needed a lot of gear. Other classes were just powerful just for the sake of existing, and if you put gear on top of them, they would still crap all over Barbarians. It's just that simple. You can accept it, you cannot accept it. Either way, the point is, I liked the more challenging experience, so I like the fact that stuff is getting nerfed. What I don't like is Blizzard hiding those nerfs. Blizzard being like, yeah, you guys don't need to know about this. This is not important information that we need to tell you. I'm like, ooh, that's not a good indication of what is ahead in the final version of the game if this is the way they're going to be dealing with things. But besides that, we also have a video here from Bellular that I wanted to talk with you guys about. There's a section of this video. By the way, I'm going to be linking both videos, Kripparrian's video as well as Bellular video, so you guys can watch those videos in their entirety. But we're going to be basically taking a look at this section of Bellular's video, which says, the service, will they nickel and dime the end game? And of course, the answer is going to be yes. I mean, this is what you expect. Let's go.
Of course, we've got whatever the hell's after that. So let's take a look at post-launch support. Okay, there are going to be quarterly releases. All right, so not as aggressive as Overwatch 2, but quarterly releases. And I actually think that...
So basically this is going to be like every 3 months you're going to be getting something new. I believe that's their plan thing. You're going to be getting new seasons. He says here it's going to be additional gameplay features, new quest lines, battle passes, legendary items, class balance changes, and quality of life improvements. See, the class balance changes is again, it's one of those points like we were talking about earlier. It's just one of those sore spots for me where it's like, if I ever feel like I'm getting jacked when it comes to respeccing my character because of a change you made, I'm going to be so goddamn pissed. I'm going to be making like 10 videos complaining about it, okay? I'm going to make like 10 videos boycotting Diablo 4 over the fact that you nerfed something that I've invested a bunch of points into, and now I have to pay the price because you guys were too stubborn to change your mind when it comes to respec. Again, it just comes to mind the whole thing in World of Warcraft Shadowlands, how you guys dunked that game into the friggin' dirt. I mean, the expansion itself was garbage to begin with, but the whole thing about like, the ripcord. Yeah, right.
That is pretty damn fantastic. So, additional gameplay features, new quest lines, battle passes, legendary items, class balance changes, quality of life improvements. Also bringing in fresh concepts and ideas to the game. So, seems pretty decent. Our first season starts mid to late July, over a month after the game comes out. Now,
so this means that you're going to have a month to basically play the game. Another important thing, which I don't know if people know or not, because I also, in preparation for this video, I watched their developer, the latest developer live stream that they did. And another thing is, after you finish the campaign once, you never have to do the campaign again. You go into like what I'm imagining is going to be the equivalent of adventure mode. And every subsequent character can just follow through by doing adventure mode. This includes when the new season begins. So whenever a season begins, you'll be able to just like start a character straight up in adventure mode. You don't have to do the campaign every single time, unless you want to. You can also do that. But also, if you're somebody that jumps in midway through the season and, you have to play through the campaign, you're also going to be accruing the points for the battle pass or whatever. I don't remember if Bellular mentions that or not, but...
They've said that this is because these new seasons will all only be accessible post-campaign, right? So seasonal content is after the campaign. That's why...
The seasonal content is after the campaign, but you will unlock things if you are doing the campaign while the season is active. But those things will only become active after you finish the campaign. This is straight out of the developers' mouths, by the way. I'm not like conjecturing or anything like that. The developer said this in the last live stream.
They're doing that sort of delay. But it's not going to be a direct continuation of the campaign. They're going to leave that to the expansions. And they also confirmed that the story can be skipped after the first time you've completed it, which of course just means you don't have to like redo the story on your seasonal characters. Overall then, this in itself is kind of interesting, right? You look at, say, a Destiny. One of the things people, I think, sometimes liked in Destiny was the progression of plot, or at least the progression of lore between those seasons. Maybe we will still see that, like, lore hints, things like that, that kind of, weird live service way of storytelling that doesn't involve a shitload of content. Which, yeah, I think this is basically them wanting to get all that engagement, but still wanting the idea of a new expansion, big new story, big new villain, all of that to be super exciting, and to, of course, drive humongous sales.
I'm a big fan of the expansion model. What I'm not a big fan of is like just the sheer amount of stuff that Blizzard is doing here. And I think that Bellular is going to get into it, but it's like you're going to have a heavily monetized launch in which they're going to sell you 4 days of early access, which, by the way, those 4 days include a weekend, which for a lot of people is going to be particularly important if you want to jump into Diablo 4. So they're monetizing that. They're monetizing seasonal battle passes. They're monetizing an accelerated version of the battle pass, which again we're going to see in more detail here. They're going to be expecting you to pay for these things every 3 months, and then on top of it, they're still going to sell their expansions. It's like, bro. It's like somebody asked the Diablo team, the Diablo 4 team, hey, how are you guys going to monetize the game? And their answer was yes.
Anyway, this also does follow something that Call of Duty's been doing. And I really have found this to be interesting because a lot of the modern Call of Duty games, whenever you boot them up and play them, you click in the store and you're like, what? There's a bundle that gives money to the Call of Duty endowment for veterans, and there's basically not much else in the way of monetization. This is loopy. And it's always then that, like, after a month or two, that's when the season starts, that's when the monetization comes in. So this kind of will happen.
Of course, late game monetization. Who would do that? No. After all the reviews are out, and then it's like, in comes the monetization. We already got the good score. Let's go.
Gives the game then that new marketing beat as the season drops. It's time to re-engage, and that is where all of your sort of optional spend and all of that sort of comes in. And this also has the very handy thing of allowing them to dodge having to show off any particular pricing or anything like that that could be kind of controversial. As an example, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 looked like a pretty damn, good, fair experience when you actually look at that on launch. And then very recently, with its DMZ mode, we have seen multiple, cosmetic bundles that do happen to have a gameplay benefit, which is a bit scummy. Now,
I'm so shocked. Who would do such a thing?
Now, to go and talk about the seasonal journey then, this will be familiar to people who have played games like this. It's designed to showcase all the seasonal content to players by giving you chapters.
And the seasonal journey, essentially what it does is it's going to give you a currency called favor, I believe. And that is kind of like how you advance in the battle pass. And these are things, again, that you will complete even if you're just doing through the campaign. But they only unlock after you finish the campaign.
Made up of individual missions, and if you click on it here, you can see exactly what it looks like. You've got your different chapters of the seasonal journey, and essentially just what a lot of players want. They want to go into their game, they want to have a clear goal,
and by the way, a thing about this particular seasonal journey is that you are not required to complete every single objective in a chapter in order to move on to the next chapter. As a matter of fact, you can see here, complete 7 out of 9 objectives to earn rewards and unlock the next chapter. So this is something that they're experimenting with so that you're not forced to do everything. You can choose like maybe a couple of things that you don't feel like doing or that you traditionally do not like doing. And you can just skip those and move on to the things that you do enjoy doing. So a little bit of flexibility there is actually a good thing.
Want to have something that just says, hey there gamer, this is what you can go and do to move your way through this, and versus just grinding out a Paragon level by killing a bunch of mobs or grinding XP by winning matches in Halo Infinite.
And here's just like a side comment in regards to the whole season journey thing. It's just like, it's such a perfect time to have this discussion because of the fact that I've been playing so much Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not comparing both of those games. I'm just talking about like the design approach between these two titles where, when it comes to games like this, the live service games, what exactly does the audience want? They want this. They want a chore list. And I find it interesting because I've seen it in my comment sections whenever I criticize this type of approach. A lot of people actually push back and they'll say like, no, I want this. I want to know exactly what I should be doing in order to gain maximum rewards for my time spent. And I'm always just like, Jesus Christ. We are optimizing the fun out of gaming. Like, bro, if there was a list like this in Tears of the Kingdom, I probably would not have done a single thing that was on the list. And I've put in probably like 20 plus hours into the game at this point. So, it's just an interesting way of looking at things, I feel like.
Something like this allows Blizzard to have it be a little bit more designed, a little bit more varied, with pretty damn clear rewards being displayed. So it's pretty obvious. Now, all of this stuff is free, right? So you complete these missions, you see some of the new content, you get rewards. This is free stuff. But if you also participate in the season, every challenge that you do awards you with favor. Completing quests gives you favor, joining events gives you favor, just generally doing stuff in the game gives you favor. Now, based on this screenshot, this is not necessarily something that's marked in super discrete numbers. You'll rather just see things that say, like, look at this, reward, larger favor drop. So we're earning favor. What does favor do? Well, of course, favor takes us through the battle pass.
It's battle pass juice.
Oh, whoa, we're back. Battle passes. It's one of those things for a long time that they have been seen to work. There have been good implementations of this. Not to be sitting here praising Halo Infinite, but the way that Halo Infinite guarantees that you do not, lose thing.
See, this is one of the really cool things that I feel like more people that do battle passes need to embrace. Because, like, look, at the end of the day, I'm never going to like battle passes, no matter how you try to serve them to me. It's just never going to be my thing. I don't like them. I think they're stupid. I think they're boring. I think that basically generating random FOMO, usually what ends up happening is if I see that, oh my God, I'm not going to have enough time to play the game enough to earn the battle pass, right? If I see that, oh, I have a little bit of time, but it's not going to be enough to earn the battle pass, what's going to end up happening is I'm just like, well, guess I'm just not going to play the game then, because screw it, because I'm not logging in and purchasing a battle pass to then not complete the battle pass. I'm either going to only play it when I can complete it, or I'm not going to engage with it at all. That's just the way that these things go. Whereas if I could progress the battle passes at my own pace and be assured that I never lose the rewards from the battle pass, this is such a weird thing to me. The way that these companies just do this and people just blindly accept it, it blows my mind. The way that it's like, oh, I paid for this thing. Okay, you paid for the battle pass. All right. So you didn't have time to complete the battle pass. No. Oh, I guess you just lose everything. Yes. And this is fine. What? What do you mean? I don't know. Maybe it's because I've gotten older or something and it just blows my mind even more. But the whole concept around battle passes expiring, I'm just like, bro, no. So like when they talked about this in the Halo Infinite thing, I was like, dude, this is the way that they should do it. At the very least, this way you can choose when you want to play the game and you can choose which battle pass you want to advance on. I mean, sure, you can limit like, oh, we're only selling this battle pass from this time to this time. But after you buy it, you can be sure that you can advance it whenever you want. I just think that's way more fair, but that's not what Blizzard's doing.
That you've purchased with its sort of persistent model, like that is really good. But obviously battle passes, we're now getting very fatigued by them as an industry because basically every single game is saying, hey, we need X hours a week. That's just what we need from you, gamer. To the point, I think, where people are just beginning to be really tired of being asked for that. Okay, so there's a little bit of a look.
Yeah, gaming shouldn't be a job. Gaming's a hobby. And you can say, oh, Rurikhan, gaming, technically speaking, your job is like, no, my job is making videos. It's two very different things. Something that a lot of people still don't understand.
At the Battle Pass, we've got 27 free tiers and 63 premium tiers. This will last for 3 months. And it ain't a Halo Infinite, crew. It cannot be completed after that.
See, this is just like, good God, could you have anything else that you add on top of this to make it even like less appealing? It's like, oh yeah, we got the early access monetization, we got the super heavy deluxe edition, we got the seasonal pass, which by the way cannot be completed after the time passes, and we have the expansions that we're going to sell you further down the line. By the way, game's expensive as hell, and most likely servers are going to explode on the first week of, the launch. Even though the developers say they're very confident because of the tests that we had in Server Slam. We'll see. We'll see if that's the case.
And it can only be progressed on seasonal characters. Now, the free tiers will give you cosmetics, which are framed as being class agnostic. They give you smoldering ashes, which can be spent on blessings, right? So these are things like player-controlled boosts to XP, gold, and obol earnings during a season. Now, these are gameplay changing. And these are basically character level limited. So
So the thing here is Blizzard is saying, oh, you can't really pay to win because in order to get the boosts, you need to get characters to a certain level. But at the end of the day, you can still skip tiers. So it's a little bit more controlled, but there's still like a little bit of a dirtiness to it, if you know what I mean. But it is what it is. These things are not going to change.
Actually cannot apply them unless your character reaches an appropriate level. And the reason why they've done this is that you can't just buy a whole bunch of tier skips. then get all of these boosts, and then hyper-optimize your way, like, right up to the top with those boosts. So that's something they're doing to just sort of control the flow of progress there, to maintain just to maintain balance between the people who are and are not paying, which, yeah, you know, that's good. I think in a game like this, XP boosts and stuff, they can actually be kind of fun. They can certainly be a very meaningful reward, given how this genre is very...
You want to know what is fun? Fun is making sure that leveling up in the game is fun. Now, so far from what I've seen of Diablo IV, it's pretty fun to play the game. The moment-to-moment gameplay is pretty good. But to me, it's more important that you ensure that people are having fun while they're leveling up, as opposed to selling them the solution of, oh, we can make you level up faster. Like, I don't think that's necessarily a good thing, but that's just me.
Very much codified along the lines of grind and time equals money. So, our premium tiers then, they are very explicitly framed in regards to what they are not, but we don't have a ton of detail on the actual content. So the upgraded track has 0 in-game power, instead has cosmetics unique to that season and the platinum currency. So platinum is a premium currency that you cannot earn in-game. You can only buy it with real money, and you can, of course, spend that in the shop or for future battle passes.
Now, I'm very curious to see if, oh, they actually say the premium battle pass is going to cost 1,000 platinum. For access to the 63 premium tiers of the pass. Well, technically speaking, wouldn't it be 67? Because I think earlier he mentions that, yeah, there's 23 free tiers and then like 67, so this number might be wrong. But either way, I wonder if the idea is that if you complete a battle pass, like you buy the first battle pass, you complete that, and then you'll be able to buy the next battle pass, and on you go. That might be the way that they do it, which is definitely, you know, at least it's a little bit more consumer friendly, but it all depends on how hard it is to progress through all the tiers of the Battle Pass.
So, let's take a look at our pricing then. The Battle Pass is free, the basic one. You then have the Premium Battle Pass, which is $9.99, giving you access to the 63 premium tiers of the pass, and then the Accelerated Battle Pass.
Can I just say that the whole notion of having an accelerated battle pass, which by the way has exclusive items and unlocks on it, is just so absolutely disgusting. You're like, okay, so we're selling, you have the free track of the battle pass, which, you know, that's to be expected. Then you have the premium version. Then we have the accelerated version.
Are you old and crusty? Like, you know, I'm 28. I'm ancient,
yes.
But do you want to be a zoomer? Do you want to be a zoomer and zoom through your battle pass? Well, you can do that for $25, where you will get 20 tier skips and the Wings of the Creator. Woo! Emote. Now, Blizzard also confirmed...
Which, by the way, these wing emotes can also go to hell. Like, they're completely immersion-breaking and fucking stupid as far as I'm concerned. Like, I did the wings emote. I don't know if it was Wings of the Creator or if it was something else, because there was an emote that was available in the beta, and I was just like, dude, this is so dumb. It's so immersion-breaking. And I understand, for a lot of people, you don't care. But for me, Diablo has always been a very immersive game. And to just be running around through the game and suddenly someone's just like, aha, I have the wings. And you're just like, oh, great. Yes, there's angels in my game now because that makes sense. Other players are angels. Like, no, dude.
To Kotaku that the tier skips are otherwise $2 each, and that the Accelerated Pass exclusive items will not be available separately.
Anyway, that's all I'm going to watch of the video here. There's plenty more context to this, and like I said, I will link to the original video in the description of this video, so you guys should check that out. And you can also check out the Kripparrian video if you're interested in more Diablo 4 information. But fundamentally, it's like, look, I think that the moment-to-moment gameplay of Diablo 4 is really good. I always have fun on all of the betas that I've played. I think the game is fun. I think I'm going to have fun with the game. But again, I'm not going into it with this mentality of like, oh, I need to get at least 1,000 hours out of this. The mentality that I'm going into Diablo 4 is like, I'm going to play it until it stops being fun, then I'm going to stop. I'm not about to rejoin Blizzard's meat grinder, where they're just like grinding players into a fine pulp until they're completely used to their Skinner box and just like, no. It's most likely not going to happen unless they do it really, really well, which I would not expect. I expect it to be fun for a while, and then I'm probably going to move on, especially because we have Final Fantasy 16 coming up in late June, which is going to be pretty freaking awesome. And I don't know why, but like every single train in the region decided to pass while I'm recording this goddamn video. But anyway, point of the matter is, in my opinion, be very careful if you want to play Diablo 4, because basically the monetization is going through the roof, and it is not the most consumer-friendly way of doing things. The FOMO battle passes and all of that stuff is something that I'm not a big fan of. The pre-order monetization stuff, where you're expected to pay $20 additional for 4 days of early access, which to me, as far as I'm concerned, is 100% pay to win. And I think that a lot of people that push back against that are pretty much on copium, which is fine. You know, feel free to see things however you see fit, but that's just the way that I look at it. Either way, I'll be covering the game once it comes out. So yeah, if you guys are interested, subscribe, bell notification icon, all that jazz. If you like this video, hit up with a like. If you did not enjoy it, hit up with a dislike, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe. Peace out.